Hi, my name's Travis Coleman and you're watching me on Run Forest Run TV. Yeah, I'm Travis Coleman. I'm from Tweed originally, didn't travel too far, now living on the Gold Coast. Professional triathlete, full-time frother and run around just being crazy all day. Sponsored by Cliff Bar, Gardener Vegan, TLR Race Wheels and the wonderful P3. Alright, so with all that happening, I was able to fully clear my schedule, relax a bit, and then start replanning. Just started the replanning process, and I'm enjoying a lot of the individual sports by themselves. So I've got a swim race coming up this weekend. I've been loving the road and crit cycling races, entered a few long runs, some trail races, and then that will lead me basically into the next season, where I want to have that proper dig at the 70.3 and possibly even a full Ironman, now that I'm enjoying running further, riding and swimming further as well. The goals, basically the same goal races as that I missed out on last year. The big 70.3s, Sunny Coast, Taupo, Busso would be great, and travel as much as I can. Now that Tasmania is on the map as well, that would be sick, and hopefully some Asian races, European races, American, like just as many races as possible. I like a 4-week turnaround, 52 weeks in a year, so I guess that's about 12 big races for a calendar. So a normal training week these days for me includes, we'll start with Monday, this could be 10 minutes. On a Monday, I'll start with my hills and sprint and breathwork run. So it's about an hour at the moment. I'm building this back up again. And then the afternoon is a 3K swim from Snapper to Kira. I jog up barefoot, so I get all those sensations in my foot, plus my recovery run, doing intervals on the way back. Tuesday starts with the hours Zwift session between high intensity intervals and long aerobic intervals. Before work, go to work, come back home. Actually no, after work, I do my gym session, come back home, go for a swim, same course, just different intervals, and then some yoga. Then Wednesday, I start the morning with a swim session here in Burleigh, and then work, do some Pilates, go for a run, and then finish with yoga again. On a Thursday starts with a Zwift session, about an hour, either the high intense intervals or the slower ones depending what happened on Tuesday. Work, and then gym session after work. Friday starts with a sleep in, first sleep in of the week. Go to work, do a Pilates session, go for a run, go for a swim, and then do my second shift at work for the afternoon shift. And then the weekend hits and I get to train properly. So on the Saturday will either be, depending on the week, the mobile cycling race, which is on the afternoon, which I'll ride to, so I get about 130 to 150K in that day. The odd week off, I'll go for my long run of a couple hours, just enjoying running and having fun, as well as a nice surf or something fun in the ocean. And Sunday is pretty much always the Gold Coast Cycling Club criterium. If that's not on, I'll go for my long ride through the mountains, 4 or 5 hours, just enjoying riding and just have a nice easy weekend hanging out, eating lots of food. Yeah, so even though triathlon is individual racing, you pretty much can't get to a start line without a team behind you. Thankfully, we've got a pretty core strong team. My girlfriend Michaela thankfully supports me on everything. She even cooks for me and helps me get ready for bed. Couldn't do it without my parents, obviously wouldn't be here, plus through school, helping me stay motivated, stay in school, and push me along as well as all the people I've met through racing, training. Tracy, my osteo, has been osteo since, for 10 years now, easily. And everyone along the way, from coaches here and there, pretty much, if we've ever had a chat, you've stayed in here, and even if I don't remember someone's name, I still remember the help that the energy and the attention to me then gave me to race with. So we'll start with swimming. Swimming is pretty much 5 days of the week, sometimes 7 if I'm feeling really good and fresh, anywhere between 15 to 20 Ks for that week, and that can be about 5 to 7 hours for the week of swimming. Running, depending on the week, will be somewhere between 5 to 7 hours for that week, anywhere from 40 to 60 Ks, and I'm building that back up to eventually 70, 80, and a few more hours with that. Cycling is back down now actually to about 10 hours of cycling a week, which is roughly 300 Ks and roughly 1,500 to 2,500 elevation in that as well. Plus about 5 hours of yoga, 3 hours of gym, 2 hours of Pilates, and so many calories eaten. So a quick summary of that is about 20 hours of swim, bike, run, about 5 hours in the gym, about 5 hours of a yoga meditation practice, about 5 to 10 hours of recovery in P3 whenever I can. And I think it's about 12 to 15 hours of eating and cooking. It's a lot of time prepping food and cooking food. But thankfully Garden and Vegan helped me out with the prepping food side, and I just get to eat all their meals. Yeah, growing up, I wasn't really great at anything other than giving it a crack. So that ended up helping me more than I realized, in that I got pretty motivated by coming second a lot, or just missing out on the cusp. Through school, I qualified for almost nothing. Late puberty bloomer, but came year 10, I almost qualified for state athletics and cross country, but I was first reserve, missing out on a sprint finish. And pretty much from that day, I decided I'd start training for stuff rather than just having to go here and there. All the sports I did through school were to get out of school. I did all right academically, but I just hated the whole school experience. So anytime I could jump on the soccer team, footy team, surfing, tennis, rugby league, touch football. I only found about cycling after I got my license, but every athletics, anything I could do to get out of the classroom, I did. And it actually gave me quite a big background to draw different skill sets from, even though I'm just swim, bike, run. I've got speed for swimming, endurance for swimming. I've got the lung set, probably came from playing saxophone through school, so that helped. Footy for all my explosiveness. I don't roll my ankles because I know how to pivot. I know how to be speed on takeoff. Then all the losing races and the team sports helped develop this muscle, which is the most probably important one. For then all my racing to come in the later years, growing up through the age group system, finally getting wins, then basically undefeated for 3 years, and then starting back at ground zero as a professional, starting from basically last, finally making swim packs, and then now finally being in amongst the boys for as long as the race goes for. And now the next step is being on the podium with them. In amongst the many sports, finding triathlon come about because Dad's mate actually found out about a local triathlon at Twin Towns Tri Club, and Dad challenged me. He was like, let's have a go. You think you're pretty good at sports? Let's do a swim, bike and run. And I was like, yeah, easy, I can do that, no worries. And he beat me. And ever since that day, I was motivated to never let my dad beat me at anything ever again. Yeah, through finding triathlon helped shape who I am a lot, and I've been able to put triathlon into life, and all the discipline I learned through training I can put into other life areas. And now to progress through triathlon even more and see what else I can learn from it is to travel to as many races, as many continents, places as I can, enjoy the experience and win as many races as I can. The goal since forever has to win enough races so well that no one ever forgets my name. So even though I'm not here, it's Travis Coleman this, Travis Coleman that. Whether it's winning or not, it doesn't really bother me now. Originally it was because I was winning all these races with all these PBs. But it's, remember that Travis Coleman, he had a dig, he had a crack, he was a good fella, he had a chat to me. And triathlon's a pretty good community in that everyone really celebrates each other and helps each other out. So even if I'm not winning, it's still really fun to connect with the people, and we remember each other as well, and we just live forever. Yeah, so I had this amazing block of training, 16 weeks leading into Sunny Coast. I also was working 50 hours a week, so I went into Sunny Coast really fatigued and had a great race. I then freshened up for Moreton Bay and had probably my fastest, best race ever. Unfortunately, it turned around at the wrong run turn, so I got disqualified. I ended up running further than the course anyway. And then 3 days later, as I was putting another training run for Melbourne, Devonport, Taupo, Wanaka, all these big 70.3 races for my biggest season yet, a van pulled straight out in front of me as I'm going on my bike at just over 40k an hour and pretty much shoulder charged the side of a van. She pulled straight across the road. I had nowhere to go. I've had cars pull across in front of me before, and kind of like a crit race, you throw your body into them and you go with it. That only works when they're going the same way as you. She was coming opposite, and because I've braced and got my head out of the way, my shoulder went about that deep into the side of her van. And then next thing I remember was standing on the medium strip in the middle of the road. Didn't realize that I didn't remember anything until a week later. I passed out, hit my head on the toilet, cut my eye open, and was back in hospital. The original injury from the crash was 2 torn ligaments in my ACJ, the acromial something and the subacromial something. I should know these. But it was a fairly long process mentally, longer than time-wise, to have just put so much work into this big season and pretty much purchased my whole season, and it's gone like that. So it's a big kick in the guts for that to happen. But again, I learned so much resilience from this. I was able to then put more time into my girlfriend, realized I didn't want to work 50-hour weeks anymore, left a few jobs, kept one job, PT, and we did the work to get back stronger with my shoulder. Then my swimming increased because I did so much rehab and backed off the swimming, then came back in with the mindset of I don't need to be fast, I just need to retrain how to swim. So it gave me no pressure to be fast, but learn proper technique, proper stroke, and I actually ended up being faster within a couple months. Then right as I got one race in, I got DQ'd again for being told the wrong way on the swim course this time, but had a cracking race. And the next day, I broke my pinky toe, multiple fractures, and was in a moon boot for 3 weeks. I spent quite a bit of time reflecting again from all the skills I learnt from the shoulder injury. I was then able to pump my upper body a lot more. Legs eventually recovered, hit the gym hard, had 2 weeks of training, and then went and ran a 3/4 marathon on the weekend and got third. So I think I'm back. Yeah, if you want to find out heaps more about me, I'm a pretty open book. Social media is full of good funny stuff, horrible cringy stuff, and all my training. That's at Travis Coleman PT. No numbers, no nothing silly. Then I've also got my athlete profile page on Facebook, just Travis Coleman. It'll be me holding up the winning banner. Then on Strava, it's just Travis Coleman with the little vegan symbol next to it. You can see all my training on there. I don't hide anything, because if you can keep up with my training, you're doing pretty good, so I'm not worried about you. And I've also got a website, traviscolemanpt.com. All my blogs, links to my YouTube, links to everything are all through there. So if you get lost, traviscolemanpt.com, and you can click on a link to anything else about me.